welcome back to another episode of the YouTube Power Hour. Erika here, and this week I am chatting with ASMR YouTuber Lune Innate. Jillian from Lune Innate talks about how she started her ASMR channel and how it grew in popularity, and also we touched a little bit on the use of Patreon. So this day and age is super important to diversify your income sources as a YouTube creator, not just rely on AdSense. And Jillian talked about how she's utilizing Patreon as a way to bring in additional income to her channel. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe. Every week I have a new interview for you, and check out the description to find a little bit more about me and also some additional free resources if you are a YouTube content creator or if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel. And also, if you have a channel, comment below. Let me know what kind of channel you have. What niche is it? What do you talk about? And if you're enjoying this, make sure you hit that like button. Enjoy the interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Jillian. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Erika. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. I was telling you a little bit before we pushed record that it was a subscriber listener that turned me on to you, and they're like, you have to interview her. And then I get names all the time, and I always go and check out people and see what they're all about. But I have to say, I love your channel. There's something about your voice that's so soothing, and it's I love it. So I'm very excited to have you on the podcast. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Why don't we get started with you sharing a little bit about your backstory getting onto YouTube. So what inspired you to get onto YouTube and start a YouTube channel?
I started my YouTube channel right when I had my son. So I was a brand new mom, home with baby, that kind of scenario. And I found the ASMR community, which is primarily what the type of content my channel is, while I was pregnant. I found it very relaxing. So cut to after I had him, I really wanted to kind of just give back to that community that had been so supportive for me during a really, that's a tough time. So that was part of it. I dabbled a little, and then I went back in a bit more hardcore, I would say, or a bit more dedicated once I feel like I found that I could make it more in line with who I am, because when I first started it, I was just kind of going through the motions and guessing what I'm supposed to do here, the typical show and tell, ASMR kind of stuff. Not that that's bad, but it didn't really feel like anything to me. So to combine it with my my work was duh, why aren't I not doing that?
Yeah, and let's
it worked out really well. So that was a bit of how I started the channel in general.
Awesome. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit, and I want to pick apart a few of the things that you said. So for people listening or watching, I know it's huge on YouTube, ASMR, but there's still a lot of people that don't really know even what it is. So maybe give it a brief little just info on what is ASMR, what is it for people who don't know.
Well, ASMR is a feeling, essentially. It's autonomous sensory meridian response, and people get it naturally in their life, but not everyone experiences it. It's basically a kind of tingly feeling that kind of maybe starts in your head or goes down your body, and it just feels relaxing. It's not an intense feeling most of the time. It's a gentle, relaxing feeling. Bob Ross is kind of the OG ASMR content creator, right? He was just doing his thing, sharing his passion, and people would watch that content because it was just so relaxing. That's what everyone would say about him. So that's a good reference point, I think, Bob Ross in general. But not everyone experiences ASMR, but might still enjoy ASMR content because it's meant to relax you. And some people, it drives them absolutely bonkers and they will never watch an ASMR channel. It gives them the heebie-jeebies. My partner is that way. So
oh, really?
We have the balance here.
Yeah. And so then you had mentioned when you were talking about getting onto YouTube that when you first went on it, you told me your son was 7 years old. So 7 years ago, you first kind of got onto YouTube. But then you're I don't know. And then you got back into it. And here I show at the end of 2015. You had said December 31st, 2015. So essentially you said you wanted to put more of your work into it. So what is your work? What is your work that you do that you decide to align that with your content on YouTube?
My work is kind of odd, you know, it's a niche for sure, but I work in I hate the word because I feel like I'd have to explain so much, but the healer realm. I do Reiki, I teach esoteric healing arts. I'm into kind of like, dare I say, you know, like the witchy vibe or the spiritual vibe. I really try to empower people. That's my whole point of what I do. It's not to present myself as a teacher necessarily, but as somebody who can support someone on a spiritual journey of some sort. But at the same time, I don't want it to sound like it's all woo-woo and spiritual, because I try to make things as practical and like down to earth as possible. So through the ASMR content, I try to share a lot of like supportive ideas or just things to kind of chew on like mentally, and just like help expand little points of perspection or ways we can be more empowered. So it's overall like a holistic kind of profession, you could say, but it does get a little out there too, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So about 2.5 years ago, you decided like come onto YouTube and really take it seriously. What was going on with you that you decided to kind of jump back into it years later and say, I really actually want to do YouTube?
It was my work. It was a lot of my work, but it wasn't because I wanted to market my work necessarily. Essentially, in the work that I do, some of the training that I received, you kind of develop this, and it's going to sound really weird, but you develop like a pretty expanded connection to everything around you. And you feel very tapped in, if I can say, to energy. And I didn't have a lot of clients at the time. It was like right when I was getting started with my business, more or less. And I felt like I needed a place to put things. Like I needed a place to put what I was connecting to or what I was thinking about or how I would like to help people. So it kind of started as this place of like more of a need for me to express and share, and just kind of trust that somewhere along the way, the right person at the right time would just get some support or hear a message or a word or a suggestion that would mean something to them. Because I've certainly had those experiences myself where someone just says something and I'm like, whoa, like, you just like open my head a little, and thank you. So it comes from that, I guess.
Yeah. And so now I've seen like other ASMR channels, and a lot of them seem to be very much like play pretend in a way. You know, they'll do like pretending to be at a doctor's office and like that, you know, that whole situation. But yours is very much, it's different in the sense that it's like you're really, and I think that's why you know, one of the reasons I really liked your channel was that you're talking, like you said, you're talking about like empowering things, or, you know, helping people in different issues. Maybe it's like confidence or sleep, and you're talking people through it, which I find it's really interesting. I don't know if there's other people doing what you're doing on YouTube, but I haven't really seen that. What I've seen or associated with ASMR might be also what people kind of think is a little creepy. It's these like play pretend kind of like, oh, hey, you're coming out of the doctor's office or things like that, you know. I didn't find yours to be like that. I
try to take the cringe out of it as much as possible, you know.
So did you make that conscious decision of, hey, I want to do ASMR, and maybe that's what you were doing before when you said you're kind of going through the motions, like I want to do ASMR, but I want to do it differently?
I want it to be like, I think, more of myself, if that makes sense, or something that I would truly like to find. It wasn't necessarily I was trying to like cut my own cloth specifically, but it was really important to keep, I think like what's so, you hit it, you know, with like the role plays, they're called like role play videos.
Okay.
And they're wacky, you know.
Yeah, they're kind of.
I like them,
what is this?
kind of, you know. Like I've definitely watched them and been like, okay, I can sleep to this.
Yeah.
But all in all, like they're kind of cringy. Where mine, you know, I don't want to say I'm better or worse or anything, but like mine, I really want to like be speaking on something I actually know about, and actually I feel like has some kind of like, I kind of call it, if I can say, like the bread crumb, the breadcrumb trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it might just kind of like lead someone down like in a pleasant experience that they have where they feel better, and now they have actually a tool or a book suggestion or something that they can bring in their life to really make it real and bring it into the day to day, instead of just simply being like that experience and then it's gone done. And it was like, oh, I didn't get the doctor. What are you talking about? Like that kind of thing.
And so, ASMR very much is about sound. That's like a really important, on a tech perspective. So can you share a little bit about your progression of like when you started to where you're at now on like figuring out the mics and all that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. The first videos that I made were on my like, at the time, like 9-year-old, 8-year-old, like MacBook, whatever was there, iMovie. Not that that's bad, but I don't really use that anymore.
Yeah.
Then I think I upgraded to a Canon Rebel with a shotgun mic. Not great for ASMR, but I was just doing my best.
Like these are them, right? 3 years ago?
Yeah. You can tell, they're like, they're whatever I could get in the shot, and still be close enough. It's so funny. Like, I hate even looking back. I don't hate it, but like, to like go back to when somebody comments on like an old video, I'm like, oh, don't make me. Oh my
God. Yeah. Because the quality is just so different. I mean, I'm sure.
So different. It's so different. And I feel much more confident now because I know my equipment a lot better.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But now the microphone that I use is a Tascam, so it's basically just a field recorder, so I can take it anywhere. I do have a Yeti, but I don't use it. I use it for streaming more than anything else. And my camera too, it's just a little Panasonic Lumix LX10, super easy to use, super easy, portable, can bring it wherever. Not that I really go that far.
Yeah. So the microphone you use is what you said?
It's a Tascam, and it's just like a field recorder. Like if you went on Amazon and searched for Tascam field recorders, like the first one, it's like $100 or something. And it's nice because it has like stereo recording. Okay. So as you move from side to side, it slightly gives you that like panning effect that ASMR content really do sometimes, like the immersive effect. People really go all out with those mic setups. I don't really go through all that trouble, but you see people take it like super seriously where they have like different mics, or they have this one called the 3DO, and it basically is like ears for like people who want to like go into your ear, and maybe I'll get one of those one day. But it's just really interesting how that ASMR content has even inspired different microphones to be created that have this like dualistic like whatever effects to support that role play, or that like specific ear thing. Yeah.
So you're saying that like there actually have been actual microphones that are now have come about and created specifically for this whole ASMR YouTube like phenomenon.
Yeah, totally.
That's crazy. I mean, how much are those microphones? I've seen. I
want to say they're like $300 and up. Which is why I haven't got one, because I'm like, is it a gimmick? Like, I don't really need a gimmicky thing. So we'll see. Maybe I'll test one out though.
So I mean, considering your channel is all about the sound, it's very simple. You just have one microphone. How do you set it up? Is it like hanging? Is it set up there? Are you talking into it?
I have my camera set up on a tripod behind the microphone tripod, so the microphone is always much closer to my mouth, or at least I have access to like kind of lean in and talk to it. And then as well, because I'll use like different sound techniques, like just like this kind of sound even, but going around it, I like to have it like as close to me as possible to make it a lot easier. But then I keep the camera at a distance that I can almost touch it, so as you like reach in, it's like, like it's in your face or something.
So you set it up very close to you, basically.
Yeah, pretty close. Microphone, for sure,
The microphone. And then even, like you said, this is like one of your more, I'm not sharing it, but this is like one of your more recent ones. Let's get rid of the ad.
Yeah. Skip ad.
I know. So you could see how like you're...
you're like that's a very close one. That's particularly close.
Is it? Okay. And then the microphone is what, like right underneath
Right there. It's like just out of view of the camera.
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay. So then we talked about a little bit about the tech component. So, take me back then though to when you were a couple years ago when you're like, I'm going to do this. Were you really like committed? Were you uploading every single week, or what was your schedule like at that point?
I did my best. Definitely my intention was to upload every week. Sometimes I would do like 3 in a week. But I definitely, I'm still, mom life and all of that, like still have your weeks where you get distracted or like different things come up, you get sick or there are times where you just can't. So I didn't have a very strict schedule, but I did my best to just upload as often as I could without drowning people. Because I feel like there's a policy that like it is possible for people to see you too much. Like, like even if you like me, if you see my face enough, you're gonna be like, get this face off my feed. I'm sick of looking at this person.
She suggested left and right. Yeah.
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 But yeah. Like as often as I could was kind of my first approach. And now I'm at a place where I try to do it at least once a week, hopefully twice a week. That's more of my goal. And I try to make a video now that's like a serious video once a week, like one where I'm putting in a lot of effort. And then maybe one that's a bit more casual, like sharing some products or a little catch up or maybe a tarot reading or something that's just a bit less session, what I would call, based.
So when you say more effort, what do you mean by that? Is it just you're setting it up? It's what is more effort to you?
More effort to me is being a lot more mindful of the conditions. So something that's a bit more casual, I might film it during the day. I just moved, so it's a lot more quieter where I live now. I used to be in New York, and it was just like sirens and all this stuff, so I'd have to record at night. But now it's like I can do it during the day. But if there's something going on, I don't really care. Like, it's not going to interrupt the video per se. Whereas if I'm doing something that's a bit more serious, I'm waiting for everybody to go to bed. I'm setting up my lights just like how I want them to feel. So I use a lot of color in my videos. And like I set up my lights very deliberately most of the time, especially for the serious videos I'm talking about, are the ones I would put more effort into. And I have a clear topic. So it's like I'm kind of like meditating on it beforehand, like what am I going to talk about, or I'm tapped in a little to like what have people been going through lately, what would be supportive right now for someone to stumble across and go into it that way. So like the second video here, like the reflecting on, like that I filmed during the day. It's kind of a little chat, catching up with a retreat that I just did. And it's just like kind of basic. And you can see by the views too,
views
like those
are less,
videos. They don't get as many views. It's more of just like for the real base tribe, I guess, like the real base.
It's like, it's called like, they call it a hub content, where it's just content that you're creating that's like easy to create, that, your like ride or die fans want, or subscribers want, but it's not going to be the ones that you're going to take a little bit extra effort or whatever. So like this one here, the supportive energy one, 51,000 views. That one is one that you would call more of a one that was more deliberate.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's actually, it's funny that you brought that one up, because that one's the very first sponsored video that I ever did too. So I took that one like extra seriously, because I had like a little script that I had to read in the beginning. And that was great. Like I had a really good experience with that. And it's another milestone, so it's like.
Who is the sponsor?
Keen. They're basically like a tarot psychic kind of medium website thing like that you can get like get a reading at, basically like just fast, like if you just want to like tap in to get a reading. So it fit, like I don't really have a lot of of sponsor offers that fit my channel,
Yeah. And so how did this one come about?
They just reached out to me. You know what? They had reached out to me probably a bunch of times, like at least 4 or 5 times. And after the second time, I just stopped opening it, because I get these, like you're on YouTube, you get a lot of people trying to work with you, but then I value people's time. Like I was telling you before, like I value time so much, and I know what my time means. And sometimes just going through all of those and replying nicely that this isn't a good fit, or trying to explain how much your channel is worth, and I have my own work to do, you know, like,
I know.
so finally, everything just fell into the right place. Like they approached me with a very clear number right off the bat. And they said that I can make a charitable donation as well of $1,000 of my choice, like a charity. And I was like, okay, I appreciate this directness.
Yeah.
And now I have the time and this is a good fit. So I kind of base things off of that. Like even my clients, if somebody's like, asking me too many questions before they sign up for one of my classes, I'm like, I can't work. I'm sorry. Like, I can't work with you if you can't figure out my website. I don't mean to be rude, but like that kind of, it's like you gotta have a boundary at some point.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I forget, I was like having a conversation with somebody and it was somebody like a brand and then like influencers or the whole thing. And one of the things they said too, this is more especially for like, and I have a lot of people that listen that are are part of brands, you know, and they work with influencers. But the one thing I've heard, and it actually, because it really resonated with me too, because I'm the same way about time, is like, and this is even about like collaborations. It's like, don't make this collaboration offer like work for me to have to figure out what you're trying to get at. Like be really straight, like, hey, we want A, B, and C. And then I know right away. And then it's like, okay, like don't like, oh, let's set up a time to chat and like even those for me, like I kind of like, you just don't even know how to respond. You're like, I don't know.
And you probably just don't respond.
Yeah, you don't. You just, because you can't. You just don't have the time. I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and sit on the phone with you for like 30 minutes to figure out yes or no. I personally don't have that kind of time. And like, and I know for a lot of people, it's like, because especially with YouTube or like whatever it is, being an influencer, like having an Instagram or podcast or whatever, a lot of times it's like, it's part of what you're doing. It's not like the only thing. Like you might also be working, or you might also, you know, you're a mom or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. I don't have like a bunch of time in the day to be like, figure it out. Tell me what you want. And that's it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Be direct, please. Like,
yes, so
everyone will be so much better off, you know?
Yeah. No guessing game. And so, well, congrats to that. That's a great milestone. And so,
thank you.
And it's interesting because like the more niche you are in a way, it makes it easier to work with brands because it's like, yes or no, this fits, this makes sense. So,
oh yeah, definitely. Like you can tell for sure. I get a lot of really weird ones, and I'm like, it's like a crock pot or something. I'm like, when? Like, how would I?
You're like, I guess, no, that's not gonna work. And so it sounds like you knew from the get go that you wanted to have an ASMR channel, right? So it wasn't ever a question of, well, because you could technically do what you're doing in regards to the energy work and all that stuff, but you could talk about things like, okay, here's this, here's that, versus it like doing the whole ambiance thing. Like
I did go back and forth for a little while. Maybe like 2 years ago, I would like do a talk, or I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do a little teaching, or kind of like side rail a little. And what I found was that there are people who want to hear that, but I'm doing it in the wrong way. So essentially, about a year ago, I started moving that stuff over to Patreon specifically. So I do offer that kind of stuff still, but now I see YouTube as like, this is like for everyone. This is public. Anybody can have access to it. So I also try to make sure that whoever does stumble across it, it's like more or less digestible. Like I do talk about some pretty out there stuff, but more or less you're going to feel pretty comfortable. You're not going to feel imposed on. It's not going to be spooky or anything like that. Whereas in the Patreon community, because there's this barrier, you know, like people have gone out of their way to get into that community, even if it's for just $1, that's where I can do my more teaching style videos. So I did dabble with it, and I didn't see a point in the trouble of it. You know, I'd rather just make ASMR content then, and like you get more AdSense from ASMR content anyway. So that's a little bit of it, but it just didn't make sense to confuse people, you know.
Were you not getting as many views also on those types of videos?
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing as like the other style, you know, like just like the casual style ones. Like it just, ASMR is definitely like a two birds, one stone kind of thing, you know, like you're making your thing, but you're also grouped into a very passionate community who like really enjoys ASMR and are always looking for like new ASMR artists, or they'll find an ASMR video that they love and they'll watch it for like a month straight every night. So instead of like watching something once and you're like, oh, okay, cool, you're like, oh, I want to put that on, kind of like a song or like a track, you know. So
that's the thing. Like I was thinking that with like the ASMR videos, it's like I've never had anyone on the show who does ASMR, so I don't have a lot of information about it, but I always wonder this. I'm like, I wonder if these guys are just making like, I wonder about the AdSense things, because you can't really put an ad in the middle. Like, so even though it's like an hour-long video or a 30-minute video, you can't do an ad in it.
People do, but then it's not
frowned
really
upon.
It is. I would too. In fact, recently YouTube started like glitching out and putting ads in the middle of my videos, and people were complaining, and I was like, I will never do that.
Yeah.
If that happened, it wasn't me. But you're absolutely right. So you might get a lot of views, but you're typically only putting one ad at the beginning, where like some of my videos are like 20 minutes up to like an hour long sometimes. And it's like one ad, but people come back to it. So it probably evens out overall, you know?
Yeah, but because that's the thing, because then you get the thing that people are actually like, they're coming and watching again and again and again. So then the views, if you look at the views of some of these ASMR channels.
Oh my God.
They're insane.
Yeah, I'm not even a big channel of that. Like they're like
millions, like at every video. And it's like, I thought about like, well, you know, they're limited to one ad, and it's like a 30-minute video, 40-minute video. And there's other people that have, you know, not ASMR, like whatever, you know, fashion, mommy, whatever. And then they have, you know, a 12-minute video, but there's like 2 ads in there, right? And you wonder, like, I wonder, like, from an AdSense perspective, if it just kind of evens out, you know, you kind of need all those views, or I don't know.
It's hard to say, but like I hope it evens out.
Yeah. But some of these people have millions of views. I mean, crazy views.
Millions. And it's really beautiful. Like it's really it's a very positive community. You know what I mean? Like there's never drama in the ASMR community, which is really nice to be a part of it that way.
That's good, because you don't know. I know with other communities, like there's drama, you know.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
There's really not. Really not. I've never seen anything, you know, nothing like, you know, Jeffree Star and
like the beauty stuff and all that stuff. It's like, and like whole channels dedicated to the drama.
The tea. It's still the tea on the
I know, right?
I met her in real life. She's pretty nice.
She's nice. Like there's the tea. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, because it would be pretty hypocritical for all these people that are all about promoting like peace and calm and relaxation to like behind the scenes be like, you know. So, but that whole thing is really, really interesting, I think. Okay, so then at what point did you realize, like this is a thing, like I really feel like I can really do something with this?
It's hard to say, because my channel's been a slow grower. Like it's been growing consecutive, like predictably almost, but it's been a slow grower, you know. I think that whenever it was that I started getting clients for my work from my channel, that I was like, even if AdSense fell off and never happened again, I'm marketing right now, like for free. And I'm doing it by creating and like, you know, I don't want to call myself like an artist, but like there's something to it, you know, like you have to have an eye for it, or you develop a style or whatever. So I think it was that I saw how much it supported my business, that I was like, oh wow, like I really need to take this seriously, or yes, this is the right thing to take seriously. I basically, going back a little bit, like even just starting the channel, like actually starting and consistently putting it up, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, this is so weird. Like, why am I doing this? I'm very photo shy and stuff. So like editing an hour of my own freaking face is like the worst thing in the world, you know? All of that. But it was just this kind of calling in my heart, as cheesy as it sounds, to put it out there. And now, you know, 4 years later of like being committed to it, or nearly 4 years, it makes sense. Like now I finally get it, you know. It supports my business so much. Like every client I get practically comes from YouTube. It's amazing. And then from there, like Patreon as well is super helpful. So here's the thing with like ASMR content creators, like if somebody's good at it and they take it seriously and people see that they're putting in the effort, they're probably a lot more likely to support them on Patreon. But I go a little further, and I use Patreon deliberately as like a community. So like it's not just like, pledge to me and you'll get a video early access, which like, don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, okay, $1 where you have access to the community. You can ask any question. I'll get back to you for sure. And we do like a live stream once a month, like a Reiki share, like an energy share live stream, everybody together. It's really cute. And then like for another tier, there's a bit more access. And then for the next tier, which is $10, it's like the actual teaching. And all of the videos that I make, except for the live stream, because that's just a different style thing, but all the videos that I make only for Patreon have like between 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even more of like a lesson or a teaching or a talk. And then the other portion of it, which is equally long, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, of like what you see on YouTube. So they're getting like what they enjoy. And it's like a lot of effort. Like you can tell somebody's really putting in a lot of effort there. But I went from, once I started doing it and taking it that way, probably about a year ago, I went from having, I don't know, maybe 200 patrons, which I was like so happy about, to, I just actually dipped down because it's just the first of the month and you always lose a big
few people,
at the beginning of the month. But I'm hovering around like 700 over there now. And it's like, whoa, like that's a whole thing. Like that's basically
amazing.
AdSense. It's like having 2 AdSenses, you know?
So let's talk a little bit more about the Patreon, and because I wanted to touch on that in your episode, because I think it's, creators, we're always looking for different ways to monetize, right? Because the reality is like you want to be able to freely create content without having to answer to, and brand deals are great. That's a component to it, right? Yeah. But you don't want to have like every single video be like a sponsored video, right?
And you might just not happen.
They might not happen.
You might not get an offer for a few months or something.
And that's true too. And so, there's so many different creative ways now that people are trying to figure out, like, how do I monetize it? And like, I feel like Patreon is one of those that there's some people like yourself that have tapped into it, but it's definitely not like, it's not the majority of people. So why don't you just share about like what made you decide to do the Patreon, like kind of like your journey, a little bit more detail with your Patreon.
As soon as it came out, I signed up and then I didn't touch it. Like I didn't even make it available for anyone because I was like super confused at how it worked. It had weird settings, like charge people per video or once per month. And I was like, I don't even know. Once per month sounds way better than like, what if I make 20 videos in a month? I'm going to charge I don't know. It's just like weird. Like I didn't understand it. And also I think with every person who works for themselves as well has to kind of develop this like authentic resonance of like, yes, I'm worthy of being paid. And I don't think I had really gotten there yet 100% to be honest. So I started playing with it maybe a couple years ago and I'd offer little things. I don't even remember what they were. Like it was just like support. Like I just treated it as like, oh, you're supporting my work and I'm here giving you little videos or little updates. I think I was doing just like a zodiac season video and I do some tarot cards and just different things like that. And then there was a tier that entered people into like a giveaway. So once a month I would choose 3 people out of the bunch and I would like mail them a little package with like stones and incense and a little like note and like just, like a little thing, right? But Patreon actually did me a favor and told me that I'm not allowed to do that. Like you can't do that. That's like gambling. We're going to shut down your account. And I was like, crap,
Oh no, yeah. Like,
so I let everybody know. The beautiful thing about Patreon for the most part is everybody is there for you. So when you have a problem or you're late or like as long as you're checking in,
and you're letting people know,
they're here to support you. So I let them know what happened. I showed them the letter that I got and everything. And I'm like, I'm going to make this right, but I don't know what it's going to be yet. And finally I started doing what I call, it's like a cheesy name, but it's like lesson session. And I started offering that. And then I could talk to that in my videos and say like, oh, I just started doing this. And out of that's when like I started getting like tons of new, I'm saying tons, but for me it was tons of like Patreons. And it really is a major thing that supports me right now. It's like 50-50 with like YouTube right now. So it's really great. And then it's like my work on top of it. So it's really turned into something like quite lucrative, like totally unexpected. The work that I do on this, in my real life, if I can say that.
I know. my non-YouTube life, which is still kind of YouTube because
like,
it's all people from that find you on YouTube.
Yeah. But essentially that work, like a lot of people want to do what I do, and a lot of people don't know how to do it because it is one of those things, like it's hard to market. It's hard to go up to someone and be like, oh, you want me to do a tarot reading? Or, oh, I can feel your energy. You need some energy. Like, how goofy, you know? Like, I'd be like, oh, get away from me. Like, don't read my energy. Get out of here.
Yeah.
If you find someone who you randomly stumble across their video and you start to like them and you start to listen and things start to click, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to work with this person.
Yeah.
I want to have a 2-hour call with this person and talk about what's been going on in my life and get some actual, like, direct guidance. Like, it's such a, no one comes to me with a chip on their shoulder like, all right, you need to impress me. Show me what you can do. They're just like, oh, I can't believe I'm talking to you, which is a little weird for me, of course.
Yeah.
And for them, it's weird for both of us to start, but we get through it. And it's just like open. Like you already know who I am. So I'm not over here like pulling something or like trying to slide into someone's like salesy pitch, you know. It's just very organic, which I really appreciate. Sorry, I think I went in a circle there, but
yeah, no, it's okay. So you're saying that a lot of people want to do what you do. So is that what you teach on Patreon? Is that what you're saying, or like?
Well, I teach on Patreon just like supportive stuff so some themes have been the principle of vibration, or like how to keep your vibration higher. Why would you want to, or why would you want to bring it down? The last one, we've done ones on like manifesting, on relationships, and it's like just a very focused topic on educating in some kind of like esoteric arts, you could say. Which I know is like spooky for some people, but like you could call it occult sciences. But you know, I mean that like as how astrology or tarot or symbolism, even body language is like an occult science. I'm not trying to. It's not like a worshiping thing at all.
Yeah. That's just kind of the category that it falls under. So like, let's see. I'm gonna pull up your for those of you listening on Stitcher, iTunes, know that we're on YouTube as well. And so I can show some visuals here. So this is your Patreon. Is this your Patreon page?
Yes, that is.
Okay. And I'm trying to get it. For some reason, it's not the whole thing isn't showing. But okay. So you have, like you mentioned earlier, like different membership levels. Did you kind of come up with this? You said initially you're kind of playing around with it. But at what point did you kind of decide on these different tiers? And what made you decide on these different tiers like this? Because I think that's smart, giving people options.
Yeah, I want it to be really accessible. You know, I don't want to have anything that's like $100. You know, like some people go up really high and that might serve them really well. I want something. The way I look at it is like I pay about $10 for Netflix. So would I pay $10 to have access to videos that were like this? You know, so that's kind of like my cap. Like I want to keep that cap for the most part, unless I come up with something really incredible to offer. But that would probably take me more time in my day. So, you know, I want to keep it manageable for the most part. So yeah, these were kind of just the ones that I stuck with from the beginning. Like I want to say those were like the first amounts that I ever did. And that's just kind of where I kept it, again, because I want it to be accessible. I don't want to come off like I'm asking for more. I don't know. Like you can always donate more. If somebody donate $25 a month to you, they can.
Have you ever had people do that? Like just kind of randomly donate?
I have like a really kind dude who gives me 50. You're like,
oh, that's nice.
It's like super nice, you know?
Yeah, no, that's nice. I mean, it's, you know, it gives people an opportunity to really kind of thank you for the work that you do.
Well, and that happens a lot too, actually. Like I get a lot of donations sometimes. Like I've had much more infrequently, but I've had like really significant donations like just sent to my PayPal, like over $1,000 before.
Oh my
God. And I was like, this has to be a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you mean $10? Because like, this is crazy. Like, thank you, but that's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
And that was like just a very genuine, like, no, I really appreciate your work and here. And I think that says something to like the artistic or supportive value. It kind of goes back to like this universal law of like the universe keeps a balance, and it's good to have opportunities for money to reach you. Because if you're contributing, if you're adding and enriching people's lives in some way from this kind of like generous, just natural, this is what I want to do, maybe that person's not going to pay you directly, but something else will. So it's good to have a lot of paths for money to reach you. So put your PayPal, your Venmo, like put it in your thing, you know, your Patreon, whatever else. I don't know whatever things there are. I'm sure there's other ways, but have ways to reach you, you know, because it will.
I really love that. And I think Patreon is something that it's interesting because it's like, it's there. And you have these nice tiers and you're offering something, you know, for the Patreon. Obviously, you're offering something for the $1, for the $5, for the $10. But like you said, like there's that path that if someone is really feeling like they want to thank you and they have the means to do so, like it's there. And I think that's a really good lesson. And I think that's a good lesson in regards to, you know, even as women and women in this creative space of like feeling your worth and feeling worthy of that and receiving and accepting that. I think it's big. And I know a lot of times people kind of feel like, you know, I don't know if I should ask for money, or I feel weird using affiliates. It's like, girl, you know, you're like working really hard, and it's
we want you to be paid. We want your rent to be paid. We want your fridge to be stocked. We want you to get whatever you need.
So that you can continue creating this content. So, so these different tiers that you have, the first one, the community access right here for $1. What do you mean by community? Do you have a Facebook group? Is there like a website?
It's right in Patreon. It's like totally Patreon. So I always wanted to create some kind of like online community, but it's just, again, like so many hours in the day, so many different projects that you're doing. It wasn't actually on my plate. It was just something I would have loved to create. And when Patreon came along, I was like, oh, wait, like I can use this as my website community area anyway. So, that's what I did, you know? So community is like, you get access. You can come in, you can ask questions, you can join the live stream that we do. And I put out some like kind of random videos once in a while, like when I moved, I did like a house cleansing. So I just kind of talked about like kind of like settling into the house and making things nice, or just like little like one-off videos that are barely edited, just cute little tidbits or whatever. And then from there, the next one, I also have another YouTube channel, which is more music based that I do with my partner. It's called The Innate, not Lune Innate.
Okay.
And we basically make like meditation music, affirmation music, that kind of stuff, or electronic music that's just kind of chill and like kind of healthy for your brain. Like we choose like healing frequency and different notes. I should go
check that out. I love that stuff.
It's pretty nice. So I mean, I like it. But so in the $5 community, also you get, or tier, you get any download you want that we've created on that channel as well. So it's like they get a code, they can go in. I've seen people go in and take like $200 worth of songs in one thing, and it's fine for us. We're happy people are listening to it, and you know that they like it, and we already made it. It's not like we like it doesn't come out of our labor. We did it already. Exactly. So, and then I also there for $5 do like it's like a zodiac theme. So right now we are in Libra season. So the last video talked about Libra season, what we might expect to be kind of going on in the vibe for the season, and how to work with the energy of the season instead of fight the current. And then we do a little session as well. So when I say session, I mean like the more like ASMR style portion of the video. And then the $10 one, you get all of that as well. So like you always get what's below the tier. Like it's all included.
Yeah, it's all included. Yeah.
But on the $10 one, I get to talk about things that are a bit more deeper, because again, I know it sounds so silly, but like what I'm teaching is like what you would call in the olden days, like the mystery schools or like the mystery teaching. So it's better to have even a symbolic closed door to it, or like it's behind the curtain and you have to sign up for Patreon to get it, you know? So it kind of like keeps it safe and like honored in a way. I know that's, again, cheesy to say, but
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah. And so for people that, okay, so all of the content that you're creating for Patreon is housed within Patreon.
I use videos, but I use Vimeo for that. So like I pay for Vimeo to have like
Okay.
higher quality
Yeah.
videos and all of that. I still do the live streams using YouTube, but it's a unlisted link and I just post it over there.
Okay.
So because Vimeo doesn't really have a good or any
Live
streaming
streaming
service that
option.
I'm aware of. Yeah,
So
yeah.
for the Patreon, then, if somebody signs on for Patreon, the hub and everything is within Patreon. So they have to
Yeah.
go into Patreon to access, say, the Vimeo link
Yep.
or the live stream link and all that, right? Is that kind of
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it
But then
works?
they could just save it or they could download it from there. So those
Mm-hmm.
videos they're able to be downloaded where like you can't really download stuff from YouTube for the most part unless you're
Okay.
like kind of ripping it in some
Yeah.
weird like back tech way or
Yeah.
something. Um, but yeah, you would have to go into it first to check it, and then like you could open it in Vimeo and save it if you wanted to somehow, or save the link somehow, so you didn't have to keep going back there. But yeah, it is a little annoying to like have that breakdown, but
Yeah.
because people are paying already to be there, it doesn't really, it's not like a disadvantage to me at all. Like I wish it was easier for everybody, of course,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hold me up in any way.
Yeah, because I was kind of wondering like how it works is, because if there's somebody listening here who's like, oh yeah, I kind of want to do the Patreon thing. I'm not exactly sure like how I would do it. What else would you tell them if they're thinking about adding a Patreon? Like anything else?
I would say to make sure whatever you commit to is very sustainable for you. Like I'm comfortable with making 2 videos a month extra for Patreon and the live stream. Like I can fit that into my schedule. But when I was doing even the little packages for 3 people, it'd be the end of the month and I'd be like, oh crap, I gotta go to the post office, or
Yeah, I got to get
so
this
like
done.
yeah, like we don't remember something. We think it's like a good idea, and then it's like you're actually doing it, and you're like, wow, I overcommitted, or this is like laborious at this time, or
Yeah.
something like. So I would say making sure whatever you do is very easy for you. So if that was like a once a month live stream hangout where people got to ask questions, that would be awesome if they do YouTube already, like in their in that streaming kind of world
Yeah.
or whatever. Putting up posts like just for just for the Patreon individuals, depending on what somebody's content is. So like you create a lot of content to teach people. So you could have, let's say, certain blog articles that aren't public, or maybe early access to those articles, or discounts for your services, or a little mini lesson once a month or something, but as long as it fits into your day, that's like the biggest thing, because it's really easy to be like, oh my God, I have to give so much. And it's like, no, the bottom line of Patreon is that people like your work and they want to support you. So don't build off of it too much more than that. Like I go a little above and beyond, truthfully, but like I'm okay with it. It's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like I can see people easily being like, oh, I'm going to send you a letter, or I'm going to do this. And it's just like way too much stuff.
Yeah. Is it
for-
sustainable? Is it sustainable, especially as you grow? Because the idea is ultimately you want to have more and more people, right?
Yeah. And like you could have, you're like, oh, there's only 10 people, no big deal. But then it goes in and you end up having like, what if you have 100? What if you have 500?
Yeah.
That's a lot. I would say too, just like posting over there, like just little check-ins, not like constantly, not like blowing up people's email accounts with your posts, but just like, hey, what do you think about this content that I'm making? Or, oh, I'm torn between these video ideas, or this is what I have coming out this week. Like they want to kind of be, I can't speak for everyone, but like inner circle that the people want to support you.
Oh, yeah,
that, like,
yeah.
bottom line is that people are there to support you. They want you to be paid and everything.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Patreon, is that it really does have to be something that, like you said, you can go crazy, and if you end up committing to something, you kind of have to, people are paying you money, so you kind of have to actually fulfill that. But then like if you scale at some point, if you're getting more and more people in, you don't want to disappoint people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just worth like thinking about it and not being too like overzealous, and not feeling like you have to give everything,
Too
because
much,
you're
yeah.
literally already creating something. Like you already have something. So really putting an emphasis on like, thank you for helping me create this public content. I hope that you read the comments. I hope
Yeah.
that you see what you're supporting and how much this is helping someone or this or that. And like really like shine it back to them for having like a place in all of it and like contributing to like whatever the good that you're adding through like the content that you make, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And so, how do you balance like promoting the Patreon like on your channel
I'm the
without being
worst.
too
I'm the
advertising?
worst.
Yeah, yeah,
I try to talk about it. I do talk about it on Instagram a little bit because on Instagram, I feel like people who are there, I don't have a very big Instagram account. I probably have like 12,000 people or something like that. And that's great, you know, but it's not like super, super huge or anything.
yeah.
But I feel like the people who are there like genuinely also want to know what I'm up to or like what am I offering. And so I can talk to it more in depth there, and I'm not like interrupting this ASMR video. But I do have a plan that I just came up with recently,
What is
and that's
it?
to make a video specifically sharing what I do on Patreon and explaining Patreon to people. And now when I start a video, I can say like,
Refer people
oh,
to that
thank you to my
video.
Patreon people, you know, if you don't know what that is, here's a video for that, so that I'm not like overdoing
Repeating
it.
it every single video, that
Yeah,
information.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
it's too much, you know.
Yeah,
People don't. They already watched an ad, you know, like you know the deal with like YouTube. It's like you're
yeah,
gonna get people within the first 10 seconds. They decide like whether or not they want to watch a video for the most
yeah.
part, you know. So I don't want to just ramble on about like what I'm doing, but I do have to balance that. I'm not the best at that. I have to be more comfortable with self promotion.
Yeah.
I'm better at saying thank you than
Yeah.
like, oh, by the way, did you know?
Yeah, yeah. No,
You know, that
definitely.
kind of thing.
No, for sure. But I mean, you do have to, though. You have to
Yeah.
talk about it at some point so that people actually know about it.
Mm-hmm,
You know?
I definitely say at the end of every video, I say like, thank you to my Patreon community. Thank you so much. And I like specifically like focus on them at the end of the video, like every time just to
Yeah.
like really, you know, that's kind of how I mention it, but it really is just me saying thank you for helping me create this video.
And are you finding a lot of your Patrons are there in your videos, like really active and commentate on YouTube?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I just did a retreat, like a little retreat in Huntington Beach recently. It was just like 2 nights. And we did like a bonfire on the beach for one of the nights. And there was like, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 people that came just from my Patreon. And it was like paid, like there was a ticket
Yeah,
for it because we were
yeah.
kind of like, you know, like we didn't want everybody to come
Yeah.
and have a totally open event because it was myself and 2 other women hosting. So it could have been pretty crazy. But at least like 8, maybe even 10 people from Patreon. Like, and I got to meet them in real life.
Wow.
One of them just sent me these earrings today
Oh,
because I
that's so
complimented her
sweet.
earrings at the bonfire. And she
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
she sent me my own pair, and I was like,
Aw.
so sweet, you know.
Yeah, that's
so
really
yeah,
sweet.
they're really there to support, and they really want to connect. I have a lot of people who start in Patreon and then start working with me for actual like Reiki training, which is something like
Yeah.
I charge for like totally separately because it's a bit more expensive, obviously. So yeah, it's just like really supportive, really, really nice, and they're very active, it's great. It's really good. It's a good group.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So like, so you have your Patreon and then, you know, all the different levels and all that stuff. But then you also have your work of like, I don't know, Reiki sessions, energy, all that kind of stuff. So,
Yep.
and you said this earlier, it's like almost all of your one-on-one private clients are coming from YouTube. Do you talk about those sessions on your YouTube channel? Is that something you promote? Is it more like they kind of like, it's kind of this like ascension, they call, you know, like in business, like an ascension model, like people will go into your paid and then you more talk about it within the Patreon community?
So for that kind of stuff, I typically just like mention I don't do it every video, but once in a while I'll say like, okay, I go by Lune Innate. If you don't know me, I work as a teacher of esoteric healing arts, specifically focused on like Reiki as like the primary, but then we elaborate off of that as well. We get that as the foundation. And I just explain like this is really what I do. So like if that's why it seems different, like this is really what I do and what I study and like what all the books in my house are about and like what I've committed a lot of time to. And so there's, you know, I'll mention it once in a while that this is what I really do. But below in my description, I basically keep copying and pasting the same thing, you know, and it's like, this is what I do, this is where I work, this is how you can reach me, and I just kind of leave it there. And I really think that with especially the work I do, like I want to work with people who can follow links, who can read something, go to my website, figure out how it is, because that shows me that they're at least like taking steps instead of like just emailing me like, how do I work with you? It's like, just follow it, you know?
Yeah. It's all out there for you. Definitely. So how often do you actually get people, you know, paying the money and you know, committing to those types of sessions? How often do you get new people in?
Probably I'm ballparking because like it could totally happen where it's like Christmas week and nobody's, you know. But all in all, I'd say I get between like probably like 5 people a week that sign up for my classes, and they range from like 185 to 385, you know. So it's like it's decent, you know. It's decent. And that's mostly what I do. I also make like the videos that I make on YouTube, I make those custom as well. So like somebody can buy one of those videos that's like me talking to them, talking about what's going on with them. Like
I could see that being really popular.
Yeah. That's like a big one too. So that comes up, you know, and then I also do retreats. I actually, through YouTube, someone, a publisher, their name is like Mango Publisher, and they basically like their method is like quantity. I almost mixed it up. So they basically keep reaching out to like people who they find on YouTube or who have blogs, and they ask them to write a book that they'll publish. So you're not like getting paid for writing the book, but you're guaranteed, you have a contract to write the book. So someone even from that company found me and asked me to write a book on like crystals and relaxation and like the stuff that I talk about, because that's part of it too. So that book is coming out this month. Like it's coming out at the end of the month, and it's just crazy. So like YouTube is so worth it. Like if I could share that, I'm sorry, I'm like going sideways here.
No, going
like,
always. I don't care.
Is a search engine. So if like I know that like influencing is like one thing, and I respect it. I do, but I'm always afraid of like all your eggs in one basket. What if Instagram like what if YouTube AdSense gets everything's demonetized again? Investing whatever you're making into something that you're growing for yourself, some kind of platform or blog or whatever it is. But I would suggest something that is Googleable.
Searchable.
You know? Because YouTube is a search engine. People can hear the word Reiki, like, oh, my grandmother said she got Reiki. What the hell is that? And my videos are like some of the first to pop up. It's crazy. Like I really kind of really like blanketed the area there, like unintentionally, and cleaned that space a little bit, you know. But it's so worth knowing like, what do I want to do with this, or what do I want to offer, and what do I feel comfortable, like how could this be a business, like a true business for me, and not just like, you know, pictures are beautiful, but there are people who can take pictures of hotels and travel and then go on these like amazing experiences if that's what they're into, you know. But it has to support you, you know.
Yeah, that's such a good lesson, and I think it's really important. I agree. I think I see YouTube as it's really powerful because it is a search engine, but it's also I think in a lot of ways a means to an end, you know, a means to grow a business, a means to basically like get a lot of eyes on you so that you can do something else. So I think that's a good lesson, but you seem like really busy because you have a lot going on, because you've got your channel, which is 1 video a week. Or how many videos? At least?
It's like 2 most of the time. I mean, if I'm traveling, I do my best to do 2 a week.
Okay, so 2 videos a week. And then your Patreon is like 2 videos a month?
2 videos a month, and then a live stream.
So, so you got 2 videos a week plus an additional 3 videos a month for your Patreon. And then you've got your one-on-one sessions or recordings and all that.
Yep.
So are you working most days like full time, or how are you getting all that done?
I just work all the time. Actually, yesterday was like the first day that I forced myself, like, don't reply to any emails, don't even open anything, like, don't do anything, because it'd been a long time since I like didn't do anything for a day. But I just love it. Like I really love it, you know. It's like addictive almost, but like in a good way.
Yeah,
you know,
it's your passion.
Yeah, totally. And I'm really blessed because I've been able to turn this into like, this is my family's income. You know, like I'm the daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the breadwinner. Yeah, and which is really amazing. It's amazing because technically you're still home. You have control over your schedule. You can decide one day, you know what? I'm not going to take any more clients for the next month because of whatever. Like you have some level of control, but it's like you're doing what you really want to do. I mean, I think it's the dream of everybody, really. And I think YouTube is one of the best ways to be able to do that, explore.
Absolutely.
You know, YouTube or like something on social media, whatever it is. So explore your passions in a way that you can do them however you want to do it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's so powerful. All right, so we're nearing the end of the interview, and I call this the Power Hour segment, and I'm just going to read off some questions that I ask every single person that comes on to the show.
Sure.
So, and you just kind of say it at the top of your head.
Okay.
What would you say have been the defining moments of your YouTube career so far?
Lighting.
Oh, lighting.
Working on my lighting, investing in like getting a little weird, like being okay with not doing what other people are doing, not doing what I see and doing what I want to do. I think that was like a real pinnacle point for me. Okay,
because your videos have, and I can kind of show up here, like your videos definitely have, you mentioned it earlier, how, this is an ad, but how you really pay attention to the lighting in your videos, like based upon what you're talking about, based upon
what I'm talking about, the vibe I'm trying to share with people. That one's like a chatting one, so it's not like super involved. And that was just when I just moved into my house, so I wasn't very set up. But in general, like I really try to make the lighting like very dreamy and in alignment with whatever I'm doing or whatever the theme is.
This was a sleep one.
So there's like, you can't tell, but there's like at least like six different colors of light going on there that I'm like playing with to kind of create this like depth and like odd look. Like it's a little odd. It's definitely like overly stylized, but like I like that look.
Yeah. So you're very purposeful. And here's another one. Like this one's like orange and red. Like this one. You're very purposeful with
Yep.
The
and it's
lighting.
like eye-catching and it stands out and it's like it's become part of my brand. Like it's become part of the aesthetic that people are so used to seeing from me, you know?
It's like a supporting character in a way.
Yeah, it totally is. It used to be the traffic outside. Now it's just the lights.
So what do you use for all these lights? Do you just kind of have a ton of different lights that you play around with?
Well, this one that you're seeing here, I had some recessed lighting in the office in my old office. So those were 4 different like LED color changing lights that I would change different colors. And then I have these LED like long lights. I honestly don't even know the brand, but they're like long stick lights. And I use those for like the face area. So they're like kind of aimed at you. Like I never use a ring light. I love ring lights. I think they look gorgeous, but I don't like that I can't get the effect that I want to get, you know?
Yeah. And this is like a whole different one. This is like, you have a completely different lights going on for every video. So cool.
And it's cool. Yeah, it's like it's on. It stays in line because you're like, okay, the lighting, but it's like different, so you can play with it and be creative at the same time. It's just I like it, you know.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's really cool. What is the hardest part for you about being on YouTube?
The hardest part is actually keeping myself. It's not hard to do, but I keep myself very separate from the work. So when I went to Huntington Beach just recently, I met probably 20 people all together who were like actual fans of what I do. And they're like holding my hands and looking me in the eyes, and they're telling me these like I'm like, woo, you know, like it's so
very deep
amazing. But it's also like, I want to just share, like, that's not me. Like, that's me online. That's not what I mean. But my work is what they're crediting, and it's not me. Like, there's this separation between, like, what I created and then, like, me as a human being, you know, who's a normal human being, you know? So when someone's, like, looking at me and telling me that, like, my video made, like, or my channel, rather, made, like, a really big impact on their life, because that's a lot of the comments, too, you know? So it's kind of been challenging to learn to keep, like, a barrier between that, because even the good stuff, don't get me wrong, like, it touches me so much. But even if you let that good stuff in, too closely, then when the bad stuff comes in, like when people are criticizing me or they're
then
telling me I'm
that's close
saying more
too.
or whatever, it's like then that's going to hit close too. So I
Mm-hmm.
think just keeping that healthy boundary and then telling people that that's not just me, like that's a thing, like it's work, it's beautiful and it's a passion, but I'm human and I make mistakes and like I'm not some like guru. I'm not like I'm totally not, so that's challenging to keep it human, I guess.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's so true. If you were to get started today, what would you have done differently?
That's a good question. If I got started today with the knowledge that I have, I definitely would have just gone into it and felt more comfortable talking about what I'm talking about. Because I want to say it took me a couple of years to feel like not like kind of sheepish or not kind of like judged, and of course you're going to be judged on YouTube. Like of course you are.
Yeah.
But now I don't care. Like now it's like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And I knew it then too, but I felt more like protective of myself and like shy or I don't know. I didn't feel like I stepped into myself until probably the last couple of years or year and a half even or something.
Yeah. But I think that comes with time, time on the platform and experience, and it's hard to feel like that, I would imagine, when you first start.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What are you most proud of when it comes to your channel?
Definitely that it really does seem to help people, and it's almost awkward for me to say, but like people genuinely write me these like amazing heartfelt letters or share with me these stories or how like my story matched with their story and they felt connected and it got them through some like really, really incredibly tough time, like suicide, trigger warning, but like suicide or like deep depression or losing a loved one, and like knowing that there was something I could create to share this like friendly face to someone in a dark time, like that's probably like my most proud thing. And just like because I'm the type of person who it's hard for me to stick with projects, I'm also very proud of the fact that I just stuck with it, even when it didn't make sense.
Yeah. No, it's true. If you could change one thing about YouTube, what would it be?
That's tough. I feel like it's just this thing that's like, it is what it is. But I wish you could choose which ads we're going to play. I wish that you could choose the volume of the ads so they weren't going to be like ridiculous. Because there's some things that play before the videos that are just like so weird, you're like
jarring.
Like I wish you had a preference, like the creator could choose. And I wish that they were like easier to get a hold of when there's a problem. Like I just got my 100,000 subscriber plaque today. I was telling you before.
Congratulations.
And they didn't even tell me. I was like, thank you. But they didn't even tell me. I was like, they didn't send me anything, like any notice. I had to like wait and then like email them and be like, hey, I want that.
I want that award, that plaque. Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, you're right. And they, but
really?
it's like just like little things, but it's such a big business and they're just trying to stay relevant, make money, and just hold it down because there's nothing like YouTube. So
I've heard it takes a while to get
they want.
Yeah, it takes a while to get that plaque. When did you hit the 100,000 mark?
It was right around my birthday, so July. Like just before I think like right around there, like sometime. Yeah. But I'm like looking at
What has been the biggest mistake you've made on your YouTube channel?
I don't think that there's necessarily mistakes when you're figuring things out, I definitely I say sorry too much, like I feel like apologetic for like things I can't control. And like I know that's like it's not really a mistake, but like it doesn't matter. Like you're just doing your thing. I really hold back from like replying to nasty comments, but like once in a while you just can't help it.
Yeah.
Like just like someone be like, I really don't appreciate this video, blah, blah, and you're like, well, I hope you
don't watch it.
You appreciate and like, like
this is free content. Like you are free to leave.
Thanks for the thumbs down, buddy. Like you can go. It's okay.
I know.
I don't like this. Like I can't imagine being the person.
I can't either.
Tell someone I don't like this.
I can't either, especially if it's something like that. It's like free, and it's like, okay, well then go. Like
on it.
Yeah,
like,
I can. I've never left a mean comment. I can't imagine. And I've never done a thumbs down. I just like, I can't imagine doing it. Because even if it's content I don't like, I respect the person for doing it and for, you know, it's like, I don't understand.
And then you use your power of will and you go to a different video.
Yeah. And you just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I have a whole thing. It's like, but like happy people don't leave nasty comments. It's just a reflection of who they are,
It's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
What is the best decision you made about your channel?
Definitely just sticking with it. Just keep going. Like, even when you don't feel like it, like, don't get me wrong. If you need to lay down, if you're having a day, honor the fact that you get to take the day, you know? But just sticking with it, even when there's days where like weeks will go by where I'm just like, I'm not in the mood or blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I'm making excuses. Like at this point, I'm like rationalizing why I don't need to do something.
Yeah.
So just sticking with it. Just give yourself time. But when you need to, like, just do it. Just show up. I think too, it's like, don't obsess over the quality so much. Like, just
that it stops you.
Nothing is perfect. That's what's beautiful about YouTube. Like, everybody's pretty, you know, for the most part, at least the smaller channels like mine, like, it's real. Like, people are real. They're gonna make mistakes. Their dog's gonna bark. Someone's gonna walk in. The air conditioning, like, something's gonna happen. You know, like.
And I think there's definitely a certain level of forgiveness for that. You know.
Yeah.
What is the best opportunity you've received as a result of your YouTube channel?
My clients have to be like the main thing because it's so consistent and it really gives me the chance to wear the hat that I want to wear, which is like that really like connecting like one-to-one, like let's talk about you kind of hat. But definitely the book was a big one, and the retreats as well. Like, I've only really done 2 official retreats that like I actively, like, I'm part of it. Like, I'm like on the thing, you know? So that experience has been amazing. I have like another one coming out in March, which is now more like business themed. So more like working as a creative person. So it's YouTube, and we have another person doing a workshop who's going to talk about, they basically have created their own tarot cards and oracle card decks, but each time they used Kickstarter successfully and fully funded their projects before they put them out, which I think is another amazing thing that you can offer or a platform can offer. So just like those opportunities to like support other people as well, like sharing all the shops that I buy small, like my jewelry from or whatever, and just like having like a space to share things, honestly, is big part of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then last question, what is your YouTube superpower? Meaning, what is it that comes naturally to you that has contributed to your success?
I think I hate to say it because it's weird for me to say it, but it's like my voice or, you know, the softness. It comes naturally to me. It's not something I'm faking. Yes, like I will talk lower, you know, I'll talk softer, but that's just how I would talk if I was talking to someone who I knew was trying to go to sleep, you know, like I would adjust, you know, so it's not like a fake voice necessarily. But yeah, I think that was just there and I went with it, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're like the perfect fit. Do people comment and say, oh my God, your voice, I love your voice?
Yeah, I get that a lot, yeah.
I'm sure. So thank you so much, Jillian, for being on the podcast and sharing your insight with everybody. If people are not familiar with you, where can they find you? And of course, we're going to have all the links in the description down below and in the show notes. But tell people where they can find you on YouTube, Instagram, wherever, your Patreon,
YouTube,
whatever.
The Lune Innate or The Innate. That one's definitely just music. My Instagram is Lune Innate. It's really easy.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Patreon is The Lune Innate, I'm pretty sure, because you have to kind of keep the channel name going. But yeah, that's it. Or my website.
Awesome.
All those things.
Or Amazon. Oh yeah, your book. Oh my gosh. When is that coming out?
The end of October. They pushed the date back, so it's like the end of October, and I forget I have dyslexia, so like I can't remember the exact date, but late October it'll be out.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Bye.
Bye.